guys, Killian Maddox is here. Current eyepiece. No! There's 4 S's to bodybuilding: size, striation, symmetry, and strength. Strength is usually not something they can test right away, but it can be inferred. Front, lat strength. 2016 Grand Prix, Dayton, Ohio. Judge told me my deltoids were too small. These are your deltoids. Here. There's three parts to it. There's the front deltoid, the front of the deltoid, the side deltoid, and your rear deltoid. When someone hears that your deltoids are small, they're essentially saying 3 muscle groups are small, which is quite insulting. Also, you'll see the best way to demonstrate the front deltoid is probably side chest. Back, 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 and then hey guys, Killian Maddox here. Current NPC competitor, future IFBB Pro Champion.
There he is. My next guest is an Emmy-nominated actor known for the hit films Creed 3, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, and The Harder They Fall. His new film is called Magazine Dreams. Please welcome one of the best actors in the business right now, the one and only Jonathan Majors, here with yours truly. What's going on, Jonathan? How are you, man? How's everything?
Everything's good, brother. How you feeling?
I'm doing all right. Before I get into the movie, got a lot of stuff to get into because I can't wait to talk to you about this movie. What is this I'm hearing? There's some news about you. You're a married man now. You just got married. Is that true?
This happened yesterday morning, orchestrated by my mother, who married us in our backyard, man. Yeah.
Well, listen, congratulations on that to the wonderful Megan Good. Everybody loves Megan Good. There's no question about that. Major props to her. She's a sensational actress in her own right. And so I'm really happy for the both of you. Talk to me about why now was the right time for the nuptials in your estimation.
We had been putting it off. And when we saw that the film was coming to life and my mother was coming out and my mother's birthday was the same day as the premiere, and we called her, she knew, she came from Texas, and it was just a perfect time. There she is. Yeah, it was just a perfect time. And we had the whole family on the FaceTime, and that was that. So yeah, I love that woman to death. And she's my best friend, and it was time, you know, so, and we had scheduled it. So we just kept to the schedule.
You know, it's an odd question, but I think it's an appropriate question because, you know, as a man, you think about what makes a woman special. It's not just the beauty on the outside, it's the beauty on the inside. And yes, obviously, you know that we're going to ask you about what you've endured over the last year. But before we even get into that, how much did that play a role in you ultimately getting married to her, considering the fact that she has been by your side seemingly every second of the ordeal that you've had to endure over the last year plus or so?
A person once said to me that your partner, you know, you wanna see him and be with him through all the seasons, up, down, hot, cold, yeah, fall, spring, winter, etc. You know, but all the seasons of your life, you know, things that you're experiencing. And Megan and I did that. You know, she came into my life at a time when everyone was running away. And I very clearly said to her, right at the beginning, this is going to be very real. And I don't know how long it's going to last. And at that point, we were very close friends, but we already kind of got into a place of like, I had feelings for her, and she had feelings for me, and all I was saying was, you can go now. Like, this is going to be tough, and you don't need to be dragged into anything. And very much how we're talking now, she looked me right in the face via FaceTime and said, "I'm not going anywhere." And literally the next day, she was on a plane from Vancouver to New York City, where I am now, and that was a wrap. A woman that can love you when you're broken, completely broken. She saw the potential. She saw something in me, and she helped put me back together and made me a better man. And she inspires me to be a better man. And we balanced each other out. She's my road dog. She's my best friend. Now she's my wife.
When you talk about being broken, obviously everybody's going to think about December of 2023. That's when the New York jury convicted you of 1 count of misdemeanor third-degree assault and 1 count of second-degree harassment of your then ex-girlfriend, Grace Jabari. You avoided
Yeah.
jail time, but were ordered to do a 52-week in-person batterers intervention program. Talk to
Yeah.
me about that case, that situation, but most
Mhm.
importantly, tell me how the last year has been for you in light of having to endure that and to be found guilty.
Well, the trial and the case and in that situation, I mean, that's at this point it's common knowledge. The viewers can go online. I can't
Okay.
speak to that anyway. But uh, the verdict is also common knowledge, and in that moment, I mean, it was heart-wrenching in many ways. There was so much shame and confusion and was just lost in a way, lost to myself in a way. But I knew when I looked around, right, and we start the journey, the year and so after, the realization and confronting all of that pushed me and allowed me to really orient myself to myself and find a way back to myself, and so the growth. So it's been like a tattoo on my neck now that says rebirth. And I think I got that, I definitely got it. I got it after the trial,
Mhm.
living in the apartment that I was, staying during the trial, and that became my mission. And Megan was there for that. And I got, I mean, I feel like I have an all-star team of support around me, between Megan, you mentioned the sessions, the 52 sessions. Those things are incredible. I love them. I love them. I intend on staying with it, even when this is done. My personal therapist, my pastor, my family. I began to really try to utilize them and ask them, for help in many ways, because the 2 years of that saga, of the struggle was extremely confronting. And I got to really witness parts of myself that I didn't like. I didn't want to keep moving in that way. I didn't want to
Mhm.
keep feeling like that, And I'm an athlete, and I'm an actor. And one thing I did learn in those things where I feel I'm okay is I was built as an actor. There's a group of people that helped me become an actor. I went to my programs, I went to my schools, I went to my summer camps, I did all that, and became an actor that
Mhm.
I'm proud of being. Same thing with my fitness and my body. I have a huge amount of people that I ask questions, how to lift this, how to do that. What I didn't have was that type of system, those types of coaches and friends
Mhm.
for myself, for me. When you're not in the gym, when you're not on set, I didn't have that. And so those two things far surpassed and far outran, my inner self. And so now I had to, and what I've been doing, what I will continue to do for the rest of my life is stay in the self gym, stay in the mental wellness gym, stay in the what can I do to be a better man.
You were stating that immediately once the court case had ended, and obviously you had to endure what you had to endure, and then you're
Yes, sir.
moving on, and this movie's about to come out, and then all of a sudden some recent audio tape was released of you admitting to
Yep.
choking your ex-girlfriend, and so now that's in the news. Weird timing, I might add, that's in the news the week this movie is coming out. But I want to know what you have to say about all of that. And do you believe in any way that that has derailed the momentum that you were building leading into the premiere of this movie?
I think it's all God's plan. You know, something in the past few years that I've kind of realized is there's no control. You know, we're all in here trying to figure that out ourselves. You know, I can only take care of myself and control myself. You know, a great example of that is we planned on getting married, you know, March 18th, day after my mother's birthday. That's what we planned on doing. And if we would have let something like that derail us from that, I wouldn't be married to the woman of my dreams. You know, I've got to keep my path and keep things forward. You know, is the timing? I mean, the timing's the timing. You know, I can't say anything about that, but I see it. You know, the derailment of the film. Who knows? You know, at this point, the film has a life of its own. Yes, I'm an integral part of it, but it has a life of its own. You know, and I hope people will come and see it. I stand by it. I think it's probably one of the most beautiful films I've had the opportunity to be a part of. It's definitely surrounded by some of the most creative and heartwarming people. You know, like everyone's pushing to get this thing made and to get it out. So if it derailed it or not, we'll see. If it derailed it, we can always get it back on track. And if it didn't derail it, you know, glory to God.
What is it about this film, Magazine Dreams, that everybody, I shouldn't say anybody, let me focus on you. What is it about this movie that you want people to peel from it in terms of how it represents you, whether it be physically, mentally, or whatever? How do you want people to see you based on this film?
As the film's concerned and seeing me, you know, I've dedicated a great deal of my life and my energy and my time to my craft of acting, to the craft of acting. And this film challenged that to the nth degree, you know, and I poured everything I could into it. Where Killian and I, you know, the character, the protagonist of the film, where Killian Maddox and I kind of align, is that there's a sense of not giving up. You know, this man refuses to give up. He has a dream. He has a goal for himself that he's trying to achieve. Now, my dream and my goal for myself, you know, to be honest with you, brother, it goes from, I mean, my hierarchy is quite simple: God, family, art. But I can't give up. You know, Killian Maddox doesn't give up. You know, there's nothing about him. There's no quit in him. And I've had my hurt, I've had my pain, I've had my trials and tribulations, and I'm still hurting, but I'm still healing. And that is an aspect that Killian really, really, really leans into. And he himself deals with his trauma and pushes through. And in this time, even talking to you, you know, big bro, I'm dealing with mine, you know, and I have hope, like Killian has hope, that I can achieve my dream, you know, as an actor, but chiefly as a man, you know, as a man of God, and now as a husband and a father, as I've been for the past, you know, almost 12 years now. So that's where we agree, Killian and I.
Just to, you know, educate our audience, all right? This film, it premiered to critical acclaim at the Sundance Film Festival. It's been called an Oscar-worthy performance by you, who plays the character Killian Maddox, obviously. And one of the things everybody is looking at, everybody's on peel from it, is the physique, you know, the body, how you transform yourself physically. My attitude is, I saw that transformation when it was in Creed 3. Both of us was in Creed 3. See, you're an actor. I'm just playing around like one, you know, and moonlighting every now and then. But exactly. So we weren't in the scene together, but we did a scene, but we weren't together, but it was great. But the way you transformed yourself physically, I saw that in Creed 3, obviously before this. Talk about what you've done and and what it takes for you to do what you do. I'm told you're getting up 5 a.m. I'm told it's about 6,000 calories a day. Educate us about what the hell's going on with you and what you do to transform, what you've done to transform yourself physically.
Devotion. And I mean, let's talk about, I mean, we're sportsmen, both of us, right? So yeah, it's the grind. You know, I wake up at 4:20 every day. That gives me 40 minutes to get my dogs fed, get my shake in, and get to the gym. I'm in the gym from 5 to 7 every day, me and a couple buddies, and we just hit it. You know, we just hit it. And the eating is important. You know, I eat. You know, now I don't eat as much, but during Magazine Dreams, I was, Yeah, the word on the street is correct. I was taking in about 6,100 calories, and I remembered every single plate of food I ate because every single bite was, and sometimes excruciating. Having to wake up at what, go to bed at 9:30, go to bed at 10, then wake up again at 1 to take a shake, right? Because you want to take a shake, because you have to build the body up and build the body, and then you're just kind of hurting. Your body's just kind of hurting for the first 3 months of it. It was just excruciating, because we're trying to force our bodies to adapt, and so you really have to surround that body, and your mind around those circumstances, right, in order to adapt the body. That's all, muscle building, stretching, flexibility. That's all that is. It's your body adapting to the environment. And so for the time we were shooting that film, the environment was, it was hell, and after a while you begin to get comfortable in that space. You begin to learn that the pain is a sign that, hey, it's working. And yeah, what, 3 times a day and posing.
Is that the advice? Is that the advice you would give to people, that the pain is a sign that it's working? So when you're feeling pain,
No.
understand you're making progress? Is that what you're trying to say? Is that I'm just checking. I'm just checking.
Well, I'm not saying that, but I think I'm saying that pain is a part of it. You know what I mean? Pain is definitely a part of it, right? The discomfort, to get the body to grow, especially I'll speak right to the bodybuilders, especially for a bodybuilder, like there's a certain amount of mental toughness that is needed, because your body will tell you to stop, and then you realize that, I don't know what it is, but you can go further, and you must go further to achieve your dream. If you want that bicep to pop the way you want it to pop, if you need that, 4% body fat, I think we stepped on the stage at maybe 3, maybe sub 3, that takes work. But, my dream is to be an actor, and these roles, especially for my demographic, well, frankly, our demographic, they don't come around, and so Elijah Bynum and I we were working, hey, you just went to a pose there.
I'm in a little bit of shape. Not your kind of shape, but I'm in a little bit of shape. Let me ask you this, Jonathan. With all that you've been through, and we've already talked about the conviction and what have you, in your mind, what did it cost you?
That highlighted part of the journey or the film, or I guess the same answer is the same, right? I guess, bro, it cost me everything. There had to be some type of death, right, to become the man that I am now and the man that I'm striving to be. That old me, the old way of thinking. I'm nervous because I know my old way of acting. You know what I mean? My process as an actor, even that had to die. So many things had to be put.
Explain that for me, please. When you say that old process of acting, even that had to die, what exactly had to die? Be specific.
Yeah, it's a mindset. Like, I was just listening to a podcast, and they were talking about Usain Bolt, right? And how when he runs, he's the fastest man in the world. When he runs, he's a boy and he's playful. He's happy about it. He's still out there to do the thing, but he's playful. And for me, I was so focused, on the work and on achieving my goals as an actor. And, yes, I had a great amount of fun, but I was keeping everything and everybody at bay. We didn't work together. We worked together. We weren't in the same scene when we shot, when we did Creed 3 together, right? Even that picture where I was working with one of my, now one of my closest friends, the process for me, yes, there's method. Yes, there's training. Yes, there's emotion. Yes, there's personal and past and, and imagination, all those trauma, all those things are there. But just the way of being on set, like I had so much fun, but I wasn't connecting to anybody except for between action and cut.
Is that why you relate so much to this film? Is that why you relate so much to this role in Magazine Dreams? Because that character doesn't really relate. Yeah.
Yeah, this character has a different reason why he can't connect, right? He's dealing with, well, I guess we're both dealing with trauma, but his has affected him in a way that makes him think and move a little bit differently, right? Glory to God, I don't have that diagnosis, but I do fall into the category, of a severe depression. Yeah, I'm depressive. I'm not claiming that. That's just what it is. But to be able to, mm, yeah, I saw that in Killian. You know what I mean? And I
Right.
only, if you spot it, you got it. And I knew it was in myself. So yes, I felt, oh, I can take on this role because I understand it. But that then led to me understanding it, and then now going like, yeah, but that wasn't good for Killian. And Killian actually metabolizes his trauma throughout the film. And at the end, we see how it goes. Same
Right.
thing for me in my life. I'm trying to metabolize the things that I connected to with him, right? He got to get it off in the film, right? I had to do it. I'm having to do it, in real life.
Strange question. It may be a strange question, but I'm going to throw it at you anyway. I mean, I had the pleasure of meeting you for the first time. It was in the immediate aftermath of everything that had happened with your court case, and I met Megan as well. And I've always been a fan of us. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I don't know a black man that ain't a fan of Megan Good. I just don't know. I don't know if he exists. I don't know who the hell he is. I don't know a black man that ain't a fan of Megan Good. Okay,
I'm the
it's
biggest
just a
fan. I'm the
fact.
biggest
Okay,
fan.
so congratulations to you again in your nuptials with her. But I want to ask you this question. I want to be very delicate when I ask this question in all fairness to you. When I saw you, for obvious reasons, you had looked very depressed. The conviction came down within an hour. My day job, because I work for Walt Disney, essentially, it owns ESPN. They had dropped you. I mean, you were looking forward to, being, the Marvel villain, all right, Kang, the Conqueror, for crying out loud, and everything went awry. Did you feel the misery, the depression that you were experiencing, based on everything that was revealed, based on everything that you were going through? Did you feel you deserved it? Question number one. And number two, what did Megan say to you at that moment in time where you were
Wow.
going through those emotions?
Um, did I feel like I deserved it?
I'm only asking that question because you talked about reflection and looking at yourself and
No,
what
no,
you
no,
endured.
brother,
So I'm
brother.
talking about what you was feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, it's us, man. The confusion was definitely there. You know, um, it doesn't help to compare stats, right? It doesn't help to, like, that'll make you miserable, right? But
Mhm.
I got it. I love you, big bro. So I'll keep it a buck. Like, yeah, I was confused. I was what you saw, what was coming off of me, that sadness, that depression. Um, Yeah, because look, you saying that, and I thought I was trying to hold it the best I could. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
apparently I couldn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I saw
So
it. Yeah.
so there's that part. So did I feel like I deserved it? I felt like I take what I was given. I don't complain. I don't complain. Um, and yeah, I don't complain, and I take all of that, those feelings and the events that occurred and the actions that were taken, um, the verdict, I take all of that, the dropping from everything, not just Marvel, but from everything.
Hmm.
I take all of that and I had to metabolize it, you know. Um, and I'm happy that I metabolized it. You know what I mean? Because I wouldn't be here, I wouldn't be the man I am now, looking at you,
Hmm.
talking to you, without that. I also wouldn't be here without, Megan, who
Yeah.
said, to answer your question, we went back, we were staying in New Jersey at the time, went back home, and I hadn't wept, I hadn't cried. And she just looked at me and she said, God's in it. And I looked at her and I said, yes, he is. But even then, it was a hallelujah from my knees. It wasn't, trying to praise in advance. I couldn't see it, I couldn't understand it. But Megan, she she wouldn't let me fall. You know what I mean? She said, I got you, we got this.
Would you have fallen without her?
Um, Glory to God, I don't have to think about that, but I don't know what I would have done. I mean, I don't know what I would have done, I mean, well, we can talk straight, man. Like she brought me out of a she saved my life, man. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't mean that in a hyperbole. I mean that in like heartbeat, consciousness, breath, presence. She kept me on this planet. You know what I mean?
Mm.
When it felt like nobody else wanted me here. You know, nobody, bro. Nobody wanted me here. She did. And that was enough for me in that moment. And even after the verdict, bang, bang, she kept me here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you
Sorry, dog.
recently, no. Take your time. Take your time, man.
Yeah.
Take your time. You with a brother talk. You talking to a brother that's rooting for you, my man. You know, I ain't
Yes, sir.
apologizing for that to anybody. You're one of the
Yes, sir.
great ones, and you know, make no mistake about it. And we all make mistakes in the eyes of God. That's just how it goes. Take your time.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
I want to touch on something that you wanted people, evidently, you wanted people to know about you. You recently uncovered some childhood traumas in therapy, and you revealed that you had been sexually assaulted as a child. How have you worked through that? And when did you start working through that in light of the kind of conversation that we're having right now?
Yeah, it's been a journey. Like I was saying, I was saying to one of your journalistic colleagues um, earlier that it was a process, and I first started with you start with your heart. I started with Megan. You know, I had just come out of a therapy session, and I was really shook up because my therapist had walked me through this thing called limited beliefs. And
Mm-hmm.
when I say therapist, I got five support systems that, when I say
Okay.
therapy, except for my pastor, I'm talking
Okay.
about that in general, but
Understood.
I had just come out of a personal therapy session, and he walked me through that, and I landed right on it. And I, I immediately went into denial. I'm 35 years old, and I had never touched it. And I called my sister, and, because I was down, I was feeling really activated and really ashamed, like shame on shame on shame. And my sister said to me, I know something happened to you when we were young, and I should have been there, and I wasn't. It's like on the waterfront. You're my big
Yeah.
sister. You should have looked after me. And and when she said that, she said, "I know something happened to you, and that's why you're different." Um, she had never said something like that to me before.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, she had never said
Yeah.
something like that to me before, and that just made it real,
Mm-hmm.
and it made it where I couldn't run from it. I couldn't act my way out of it. I couldn't try to lift a weight and try to get it out of my system. She had brought it right to my door, and it's my flesh
Mm-hmm.
and blood saying, "Yeah, this happened to us. This happened to you. And I was there, and you're not crazy." And then from there, once you kind of peel that back, it became clear that, like, you know, older men in my family, the young ladies, who tried it, um, that wasn't the first go round.
Mm-hmm.
The first go around was with, um, a member of my family, not my immediate family.
But
Just
I
to
was
be
getting
clear.
ready to ask you who was it that assaulted you? I mean, that's the question that everybody would want to know, knowing that.
Yeah, I mean, all I can say is that it was a family. It was two family members.
All
Um,
right.
yeah, it was two family
And how many
members.
siblings do you have, by the way? How many siblings do you have?
Two, two.
Okay.
I got a
Okay. Are you the
sister.
youngest?
I'm the middle.
Okay, you're the middle.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah,
middle always gets lost. The middle always
yeah.
gets lost. The
You know what
youngest
I
are the
mean?
babies, and the
Yeah,
oldest are
yeah,
like an extension of the parents, the bullies, and
yeah,
all of that.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
before I let you go,
Yes,
listen.
brother.
With what you've gone through, there's a lot of people who still got a lot of love for you and want to work with you. Michael
Yeah,
B. Jordan's one of them. He starred with you in
yeah,
Creed. Whoopi Goldberg on The View.
yeah.
Matthew McConaughey, he starred opposite of you in the film White Boy Rick. I mean,
Yes,
when
sir.
you hear about the love that they have for you, the admiration they have for you in terms of how you go about, performing your craft or what have you, especially at this moment in time. A, what does it mean to you? And B, what does it mean to you now compared to what it would have meant to you years ago?
Yeah, the guy in the past, he was incapable, you know what I mean, of really feeling love, of really connecting, you know what I mean? Like really connecting. The type of connection and love that I experience now, I've never I said to Megan yesterday, you know, today was the best day of my life. You know what I mean? Like, and by the like, and I've done some really cool quote unquote things, within the career, within my career in the industry that we all share. But I just couldn't accept it. You know what I mean? I just couldn't accept it. And now, Whoopi and Mike and McConaughey and, hell, you know, to hear the support and to hear the love, it means everything. It's a battery in my back, you know, because those individuals know me, and one of the things that, you know, McConaughey said to me is, I believe in you. You know what I mean? They ain't got nothing to do with making movies. You know, Michael B. Jordan is a friend of mine. He's a friend of mine. We may never step on a set again together. I hope we
That's a
do.
good brother. That's a good
But
brother.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
a damn good brother, and that's a friend of mine.
Yes, he is.
And Whoopi fed me. You know what I mean? Fed us at our house. And we talked and we cried, and she gave guidance to me. They don't need nothing from me. They have their own careers. That was everything, right? And to be in a place now where I can actually accept community, it feels like I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but presently I know I'm on the right path. As hard as some of these conversations are, as hard as exposing things, about my past, things that are known and things that aren't known. Man, I'm just so grateful. I'm just so grateful to them.
Well, what do you mean you don't know what's going to happen in the future? You sitting here talking to me. I'm telling you right now, you one of the best actors in the business. What do you mean you
Thank
don't
you,
know
brother.
what's going to
Thank
happen
you,
in the
brother.
future? I mean, what do
Thank
you?
you,
I
brother.
mean, what do you think is going? I mean, you sure you don't know?
Well, I got some ideas, I got some ideas, but it's God's plan. I know that my team is pushing like madman, to line everything up, for a few things that could happen this year, and I'm excited about those things, But what it looks like, with where I am now, what it feels like, what the work's gonna be, I'm really excited to see that, So that part I don't know, I leave that to God.
Last question for you. Magazine Dreams. What do you want people walking away feeling about this movie? Not just your performance, but
That's right.
what you want them to walk away, to take away, to apply to their own lives. What would that be?
Open your heart, you know, as hard as it may be sometimes. Open your heart and see the woman and the man next to you, um, and love them. And chiefly, look at the person that stares back at you in the mirror and love that person and give them unconditional love. And sometimes it's gonna be tough love, where you've got to go in there and lift the weight, for yourself. Lift your soul up, and finally, um, help each other. Help each other. Even if it's hard, help each other. Listen to each other. And let's not throw individuals away. Killing is a man that's been thrown away, and he tries to get himself back, and I can relate to that too. So
Magazine
yeah,
Dreams in theaters March 21st. Everybody be sure to check it out. The one and only Jonathan Majors. All the best to you, my man. I'll see you down the line. You take care of yourself, all right?
see you down the road.
All right. Give my best to Megan. Congratulations yet again. Congratulations.
What's good, brother? You the man. You the man.
And I meant it when I said it, ladies and gentlemen. He is a great actor. He is a great actor. I mean, people talk about the greatness of Denzel Washington, my all-time favorite. Love me some Morgan Freeman. I'm a huge Robert De Niro, Al Pacino fan. Matthew McConaughey is fantastic. Tom Hanks is all world, otherworldly. It's a whole bunch of people that I absolutely love and marvel at in terms of their talent and abilities as actors and actresses. Anne Hathaway, I love her. Meryl Streep, I'm sorry, I love her. Of course, I mean, it's just so many people. Angela Bassett, I mean, the queen. The queen, okay? But this brother, Jonathan Majors, is a special actor that was en route to start. And people were talking about him ultimately being the next Denzel in terms of his cachet because of how much they marveled at his acting ability. And all of it got derailed. Now, to be very, very clear, to reiterate to our audience, he was convicted. He was convicted. 1 count of a misdemeanor, 3rd-degree assault, and 1 count of 2nd-degree harassment of his then ex-girlfriend, Grace Jabari. There's no getting around that. None of us were there. We weren't eyewitnesses. He was found guilty. Damn it, that means he's guilty, okay? In our court system, that's the way it is. He didn't come on here and say he was innocent, all right? So let's get that out the way first. And then the recent audio tape that a lot of people want to point to, that's where my eyebrow gets raised. Because you see, the guilt has already been established. And so has whatever requisite punishment the courts have handed down. And now that he's trying to resurrect his career, because as he articulated, he had lost everything, The Week, the movie, is coming out. This audio tape comes out. That a coincidence? Are we at least allowed to say that's a bit peculiar or weird? Are we at least allowed to do that? Again, this is not absolving him from what he was convicted of. He can't be absolved from what he was convicted of. That stays with him for the rest of his life. He openly admits that. Ain't nobody sitting up there trying to give him a pat on the back for something like that. But in our society, once you pay your penance, you're supposed to be allowed to move on. And clearly, it appears someone doesn't want that to happen. And by the way, he's been accused by others, in fairness, because we're gonna keep it 100, we're gonna keep it a buck here, right? But with this ex-girlfriend is where the conviction kicked in. Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm just saying the timing of all of this. How can we hear about this at the trial? The timing of all of it. Y'all make of that what you will. I hope this movie is successful. I have not seen it yet. I heard his performance was sensational. And I hope everybody gets to move on and live a happy life. Nobody wants to be defined by their worst mistakes. And I'm not planning on judging him that. Now, I might be in the minority. Other people might be about doing that. Fine. But he is a sensational actor. And I'm looking forward to seeing him in this movie. And I hope that if he is every bit as sensational as I think he is, as others have told me he is, that he will be recognized for that and be allowed to move forward. That's where I'm coming from with it. That's where I'm coming from with it.